Yeah, the car's mangled, which is awesome. This was from Sutton Fair last night. This was bone stock minis. One thing to see that was really nice was Greg's rules are Greg's rules. It doesn't matter if it's your best friend or his worst enemy. The same rules apply to everybody. His team, I bet you 50% of the field was cutting their cars. Not major things. Most of the problems were people didn't see that it was a bone stock mini rule class on the internet. So they had some threaded rod. They had bumpers welded on. But a lot of people were cutting, so it was a pretty damn even playing field for what it was. This car here, this was oval tracked, and then it was Mount Forest, and then it was Sutton. But how the back of the car looks, I got the loader to push it down before I left the ring for the heat, because I did make finals with this car last night. But the impact crew came up to me and were concerned about my safety, because the sheet metal is getting closer and closer to that gas tank. I told them, listen, I haven't won anything this year. I'm having a really hard time with it. Please let me go to finals. They came up to me and told me, you have to use the front end finals. As soon as you use the back end, we're going to disqualify you. So, needless to say, I did nothing but use the front. I'm pretty sure you can see the starter through the rad. I was in heat 2, so between the time I left the ring and the time I had to be back was only about 7 minutes between trucks and figure 8 finals. And I had 4 pop tires, I had a broken strut, and I had no water in the rad. So my problem is to ignore the rad. Didn't have time for that at all. Tried to put 2 good front tires on the front. And this strut here, I was going to try to do something with it, but I couldn't even do anything with it because it actually broke off clean around where the strut mounts into the spindle. I don't know if I can see it with this. The strut's not bent, it legitimately broke. Spindle's not broke. That tire's on a 45. This car still runs and drives. I went into finals how this car looks. And you know what the best part is I didn't come last in the finals. This Cavalier motor, this Ecotech, this will be the first one I've ran. I've had a lot of buddies that have run Ecotechs in the past. You can clearly see it through the 9-inch hole right here. A lot of buddies that I've ran Ecotechs with in the past have never survived them because the axles kick out. This is the little 5-speed one. And I've done nothing to these axles. I don't even have plates on the K-frame because this was a bone stock show and nothing came out in this car. And like you can tell, like I was being rocked by some big hits. The whole car went up onto its side at one point. Nothing sensor-wise died up here when in the finals. So I did the heat, which was a battle. And then I had to drive back to my truck with 4 flats, which back to the truck was probably a kilometer. And it was dragging on the ground so much that it said that my GoPro shook its SIM card out. So I get back to the vehicle, left it running the whole time, swapped the tires, drove all the way back to the Derby, still running, turned it off for the because I had to wait about 2 minutes to go in. Fired right up again, drove back in there, and the temperature gauge, I did not unplug it. It was starting to get hot, but it wasn't too hot. But this car here probably went 45-50 minutes with no rad before it started getting hard to start. But even after the Derby, after I left it running the entire time, because I thought once they're going to give me a push I could get out, but I couldn't because that tire came off the rim. As soon as I got out, I fired it back up. It had a hard time starting. Still ran, still drove, still tried to pull itself. It just couldn't because of how bellied out it was. So this Ecotech took the heat much better than what I thought it would. And it's not like there's a lot of space in there for this thing because everything's kind of pushed in. I did not break the plastic manifold. I did not break a motor mount even though I'm running stock ones. I'm going to get this hood open and see what it's like underneath the hood and see what I can reuse. But realistically, there's nothing left of this car. There really isn't. Like, the firewall is all kinked up. The floors are all kinked up. I did nothing but drag my belly out there. The NG cage held up fantastically.